T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Acquire, master, and launch your vision today with Vision Writers USA. Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of The Interview. This is a show where we bring amazing individuals who are really walking in their vision. They have decided what they want to do with life, and they are launching and continuing to launch. And so I want to bring exciting and amazing individuals onto this platform to let them just share nuggets with you all, just to help you in your journey as you are creating and declaring your vision as entrepreneurs, as career professionals, business owners, just anyone who wants to level up. This platform is going to help you by bringing on individuals who can definitely drop nuggets into your life. Tonight, I am excited about an amazing coach who I had the pleasure of meeting, and also who I had a session with, who literally helped me get unstuck in my business. So I am excited to bring on Claire Ansell. So let me read you her bio. So business powerhouse Claire Ansell is a leading growth expert with an outstanding track record of accelerating businesses of every type and industry. This straight-talking, powerful coach and consultant is a master visionary, architect of systems, and renowned for creating strategies that grow every one of BPH's clients by, guess what, 30% revenue and profitability. Get absolute clarity from Claire and pull from her vast expanse 20 years of experience as a business turnaround expert. So if you need your business turned around, you need to listen. Running a global consultancy business, she will take you out of your comfort zone, get you over the challenges you face, and show you the results you have always wanted. As one of the most well-rounded and sales-focused individuals in the marketplace, Claire will create with you a winning vision and a roadmap to success while holding you accountable every step of the way. So you don't want to miss this session of the interview. So I will bring her right on, and I will be right back. Hey, Miss Ansell. How
are you?
I'm amazing. Amazing. I'm excited. So I read your amazing bio, starting out, where are you from, where you at, and why?
Okay, so I'm originally from London. I've been in the United States for just over 12 years. I was in Texas for 10 years, and for the last 3 years, I've been living in South Carolina on the East Coast.
Nice. So I know it is, but what's the biggest difference between South Carolina and London?
Well, you know what? I feel like South Carolina is probably the one state that I've found that is the closest to London that it could be. Because it's oldie worldy and cobble streets, and there's a lot of culture here, a lot of different restaurants, just really the people. We're by the ocean. It's very cool. It's a massive difference, and one of the biggest differences is the people are way more friendly here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's southern hospitality, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, very nice. So where else have you lived in the US? Or
just between here and Texas, I've lived. I've probably been to every single state that you could imagine. Growing up, I lived in the south of France for 3 years as a child, and that was pretty cool from the ages of like 13 to 16. And everybody in my class was from a different place in the world, and so that was massive, culturally, a massive experience for me in my life, and really interesting to learn different people and different cultures.
Wow, nice. So what about culture here that really stands out to you?
I think, you nailed it, really. The Southern hospitality is really amazing. And I do love that. I love that I raise my children in a place that they can go out and play in the streets, and they can, meet their friends, and they grow up and raise ma'am and sir, and they're polite and, learn to be courteous. And those things are all really important for me personally. I'm a big believer in how you show up is really important.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest piece for me is, I feel like I'm home here in the States, and I do love it. And I would never imagine not living here now.
Wow. So does your family still live in London?
My mum is in London. My brother lives in Australia. And so we're all over the world. In fact, my mum's coming for the first time in 2 years. That's the longest I've ever not seen my mum during COVID. And so fingers crossed, she flies in on Wednesday.
Wow, that is awesome. That's awesome. So I want to ask you, so when reading your bio, you said vision. Tell me why vision is important to you and how that's really helped you in success.
Yeah, I think vision is massively important to me in my life, and it really became a much bigger part of my life over the last 4 or 5 years. I ran a very, very big international change management consultancy company. I was renowned in the industry. I worked for a lot of the largest private equity companies out there, and I would go in, and when they had a failing corporation that was $300-400 million, they would send me in to fix it. And I would, my job would be within 3 or 4 months to save 300 or 400 people's jobs. And that was really what I was brought into. It was, either we're shutting the doors or we're bringing her in and she's going to fix it. And I used to spend my life on a plane, traveling all the time away from my kids. And I was really, really good at my job, but I was really unhappy and I was very lost. And I woke up one day and I just thought, I just can't do this anymore. This just isn't who I am. There's nothing left, And I went to my first Tony Robbins event, and I remember being stood there, with 20,000 people, and Tony Robbins was fast forwarding everybody 10 years in their life. And I looked and I thought, I don't know. I just don't know. And I stood there for a few moments and I was really like, oh dear, I got to fix this. I got to fix this right now. And I went back to the back of the room and I signed up for every course that he had. And I rebuilt this vision of this life that I had. And I thought in that moment, I was never, ever going to be lost again about where I was going and what my direction was. And I was never, ever going to waste another second not living my purpose. And, it took me time to figure out what my purpose was and what my vision was. And in my bathroom, I have an entire wall, a vision wall. And everywhere I am is all about that vision. And for me, the biggest piece with vision is it stops you making emotional decisions about today.
Wow.
And it drives you forward to make decisions about, is that in the best interest of where I'm going, not where I'm stuck today?
Man, you are just dropping those. I feel like you've been reading my whole vision book.
We're very aligned. When we spoke before, I felt like we were like so aligned on what vision was.
Yeah.
And I meet very few people that truly get that and understand like the power that is internally generated inside of you from having that vision and being that driving force and getting up every day and knowing where you're going. Like if you can get that inside of you and you can create that, you're unstoppable.
Wow. Unstoppable. That driving internal force. So how long did it take for you to actually write your vision? I know I talk to a lot of my clients, and when we have conversations about their vision and they're like, yeah, I know what my vision is. And then when I hear them say it, and I'm like, wow, you're literally all over the place. You're touching a little bit of everything in life, and they really feel, that that's a vision. So how did you come to really understanding how to gain that focus and clarity of writing a vision?
Well, to start with, I wrote down the name, the business powerhouse, on that second day that I was at that Tony Robbins. For some reason, it was on my heart, and I didn't know what it meant. I still ran my consultancy company. I hadn't quit. I was still married. I still had every piece of my life. And, I knew I wrote it down, and it meant something. And I then spent probably 6 months figuring out what it meant. And in those 6 months, I changed every single piece of my life. I got divorced. I moved from Texas to South Carolina. I got rid of my consultancy business that I'd run for 15 years. That was, hard, really hard for me. It was my life. It was this child that I'd almost raised. And I decided that I had to give it up in order to fulfill my purpose. And that was to go and help entrepreneurs and business owners to, create these powerful businesses and to make life easier for them. And that was really my purpose. And for 2 years, I spoke on stage and I tested that vision. I tested to see whether it was right or not, and whether I was right, because it was such a different place for me to be. And I had, coached obviously businesses, massive businesses, but not individual entrepreneurs. I'd done a lot of startups, and I'd been asked to do a lot of favors from a consultancy standpoint, but I'd never spoken to, 100 people on stage and educated 100 people in one go about their business. And so for me, I had to go prove to myself that my vision was in line with my capability and what I was able to do.
Wow. Your vision was in line with your capability. Woo-wee! Come on now. All right. So what was that like, just reconstructing your life? I mean, you were making the money, money, and just, I'm going to drop that all and reconstruct my life. How did you even bring yourself to do it?
I was surrounded by some amazing coaches that helped me. And I remember there was one day, and I was holding on to some of those pieces. And I remember one day my coach said to me, you're holding on to this business, my consultancy business. And she asked me why. And I said, because I built it. It's my life. And she said, not anymore. And I remember, just honestly, the truth, I remember sitting there, and she said to me, every minute you continue to fight for this, you're wasting what you're doing. And I remember putting down the phone from her, and I went and met one of my girlfriend out in town. And, I had a few martinis, and I was devastated, because it was like giving up something that was, my right arm. And I remember waking up the next morning and saying, okay, I'm done. And I said, shut the company down. I gave my ex-husband the house, everything, and said, I'm done. Take it all. It's done. I gotta go live this life. And it was very, very hard. Don't get me wrong. It was the toughest decision I've ever made, and tough on my children. I mean, I was very lucky. I have my children permanently, and I'm with them all the time. And that was my biggest thing. The only thing I cared about was, in that time, being a mother to them. Making up for the time that I had not spent with them when I traveled and been at business, and, recreating this life that really meant something. And a big piece for me was, you remember the movie Titanic?
Yeah.
You remember at the end of the movie Titanic, when she has gone and lived her life for both, her and him. And you see those pictures and those memories, all those pictures of her flying a plane and doing a horse riding. And I remember watching that movie then and thinking, it doesn't matter what my legacy is. What it matters is what my kids remember about what I do. And so I set myself this goal in this first year that I was going to create 50 memories with the children. And I was going to put these pictures and these images on the wall. And so everything that I do now is a driving force to creating these memories and these visions and living the best life that we can. And, one day something's going to happen to me and I'm not going to be here, and I want them to know that they had an amazing experience with me. And that is really important.
Wow, that's really good. Jeez. So you talk about vision. So what's the actual vision for BPH?
Yeah. So the business powerhouse, our vision for that company is to help 3,000 entrepreneurs or business owners, to help them build the strategies that they need to grow their companies, to grow powerful companies, and to help them put the foundations in place to be responsible CEOs. I mean, I feel like in the marketplace, there isn't a lot of education, true education for business owners and entrepreneurs in these startup modes. And so that's really what we do, is help them create the plan and help them take the what is in their head and what they don't necessarily understand how to execute on, to help them build that structure and be there for them as a supporting role in that. And so we have this 12-month program that they enter into. And in that 12 months, we help them develop the business that they want to build.
Love it. Love it. So if you're watching, she said 3,000 people, 3,000 businesses. So you could be one of those 3,000 businesses. So you definitely need to make sure you connect before, by the time we end this call, reach out, get her info, and I'll be posting her website up here in a second. But that is amazing. So tell me about your journey with money. What's your background with money?
Okay, so I come from a background. My father was a businessman. He wasn't a very nice person. And he kind of had this up and down, in and out relationship with money. And we would have money and then we wouldn't have money. And so I was very much on my own from about 16, 17 years old. I moved out. I didn't want to be part of that anymore. And so I was very independent, always been very independent about earning my own way. And I remember transitioning from, running a very large company where every project you work on is $1 million plus, to running a coaching business, which is obviously nowhere near that in any stretch of the imagination, is making a transition to understand like what you've got to do. And I remember I was sat in church one day and I kept thinking about how my revenue number was not the right way for me to be focusing about it. Like I couldn't be thinking about money if I was trying to fulfill my purpose. And so I remember sitting there and having this really powerful moment that was, Claire, if your success is monitored by the success of the people you help, you'll know you made a difference. Because that was a big piece for me. It's like I listened to a lot of coaches and a lot of people throw out a lot of advice, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's good advice. And it doesn't mean that they have the experience to give the help that they have. And for me as an individual, I feel really responsible about that. And so for me, it was, if I could track the success that I gave every single one of my clients and I was driven for that, then in turn, I believe the money would come and I would be able to help and serve more people.
Wow, that's good. And a lot of people are fearful that if they don't focus on getting money, that the money won't come. And what you just said is people don't understand that money is attracted to value.
Yeah.
And so if you're giving value, money has to come. And you can't take that shortcut of, well, I'm not going to take the route of providing value. And so what you said is just tremendous. I mean, that's what I feel and believe. If I can just give value to people, if I can just help people, money will come. And I'm satisfied with helping people.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I had an interesting coaching session when I first started with this with my coach. And I said to her, how does money work in this? If you're out there fulfilling your purpose, how does that all connect? And I think a lot of people have that question, especially if they want to go out there and help people. And she said to me, she was the Southern lady, and she's like, sweetheart, you have to understand. She's like, if you don't earn money, you can't help more people. She's like, no one's asking you to be on the breadline. You need to be successful because your success will drive more people and be able to help more people. And I really understood that. And that's really why I have the goal of being able to help 3,000 people is my initial goal, because I want to be driven to be able to help as many people as I can and grow a solid business myself, that we can go out there and support our community and we can help people and we can help grow businesses. And in turn, my belief is that, we choose good companies that we want to work with, that in turn want to do good and want to also help other people.
Right. When did you decide that you were successful?
I mean, I think it's a never-ending battle, right? I mean, I think some days I wake up and I probably think I'm not very successful, and I've got 4 children and life doesn't always go well. I think for me, my success is driven by when my clients tell me that they're happy and that I do a good job for them and we deliver to them, and that's really for us is where that success comes from. And a lot of the time we're helping people not just in their businesses, but in their mindset, and helping them figure out how to be a business owner. I mean, today I can tell you I've had probably 9 coaching calls with my clients, and my first client this morning had a really tough day, and I cried with him on a webinar because it was just devastating, some of the stuff he was going through. And for him, afterwards he was like, "Thank you, like you made a difference to me today." And that is what makes me successful. My ability to be able to, I was very cutthroat when I was a change management consultant. When you got 300 people's jobs on the line, you have to make some tough decisions, and you're not always very liked. For me, being able to be human in my job and being able to relate to people and being able to understand how they feel, I think that's what makes me successful.
That's good. So how do you help clients understand what success for them? What are some of the steps that you walk people through? Because it's so easy to get caught up in the trappings of money and fame and car and house and survival mode. I mean, all those things are hard.
Yeah, we have a very, very structured program because we believe that entrepreneurs or business owners need the structure to help them grow. And so in the first 8 weeks of working with anybody, we go through the structure of building them a plan. And so, step number 1 is we help them review their business to date to see where they're at, and help them evaluate unemotionally, like where their business is. And then the second piece is we help them create the vision. Where are they going? Because that ultimately is going to be their driving force for any decisions they make up thereafter. And then step number 3, which is really my favorite, is we help them remove the chaos. And so we look at every single piece in their life that is chaotic. And really, our focus, our message this quarter is all about turning obstacles into opportunities. And so that's what we help them understand. And so by those 3 sessions, then we start to create the plan forward for them. And then at the end of 8 weeks, they have a roadmap for the next 12 months, and they know what their targets are and they know what they're driving towards. And then every single week, we're focused with them on helping them identify the holes or the challenges or the obstacles in their business, and working through those pieces and what comes up in their business as they start to evolve and change to help them overcome that.
Wow, I love it. That's amazing. So do you offer any free consultations? Like, how can people get connected?
We do. If they go onto our website, they can log on and they can get a free 30-minute power session with us. And we're happy to answer any questions that they have. We tell them, bring your biggest challenge and we'll help you figure out how to solve that. And I feel like in the last 2 weeks, I've probably done 25 free sessions with entrepreneurs, and it's been really exciting. And it's always great at this time of year. We really push hard to help people, even if they can't afford our services. We want to be able to help serve them, and that hour can make a big difference to them to get some really sound and solid advice.
Right. Now, do you have a Facebook group that people can join? That's
We do, the Business Power Group. And so people can go on to that and they can join our group. We have our Facebook page, which is Claire Ansell Power, or the Business Powerhouse. They can find all of those links from our website, from the Business Powerhouse website, and just follow us. We have tons of videos. We launch all the time new videos. We talk about some of the challenges that they face, some of the tough obstacles, and we're really there to help them. We believe in trying to teach and educate and show them the way. The biggest thing for me is we don't just talk about what we do. Everything that we do is a lesson where we have a worksheet or a book, or someone's translating what we're talking about into their business so they can actually execute on it. We have a webinar coming up on December the 9th, actually, to build your plan for 2022. And the 60 minutes is free, and anybody can come on and join that, and massive reward from that.
okay. I need to. So let me put that in the comments. Give me the info about that webinar that you got coming up.
Yeah, December 9th. It actually pops up like on our homepage straight away. You can see the link and you can register for the page.
Okay. Cool. Put that in there. So let me ask you this. I feel like people are in relationships or connected to people. How have you helped people disassociate from the wrong people so that they can become more successful? Because that's part of it. What
Yeah,
are some of the things you talk about and suggest?
yeah, most definitely. I mean, we are who we surround ourselves by, and that definitely is important. And if you want to be pushed and driven, you've got to step into that power, and you've got to be able to push yourself. And I think it's once you understand your vision, then you're able to drive towards that. You make different decisions based on understanding where you're going. And so I think for me, I think there's this magic that happens when you understand your vision. It's like asking the universe for what you want. So many people walk around every day and they say, I don't get what I want. This doesn't happen for me. And I always say to them, have you asked for it? Do you know what you're asking for? Because if you ask the universe for it, this magic happens where suddenly your brain starts to align with your vision and you start to notice the things that are taking place around you and the opportunities that are presented to you.
Wow. I want to bring back to something. And I meant to mention, it made me think how just scripture talks about losing your life in order to gain your life. Talk a little bit more about how you had to lose your life in order to get this new life that you wanted.
Yeah, I think that we all get caught up in what we should do. And I say that I used to have a life that was like keeping up with the Joneses, right? I had an amazing house, I had a pool, I still have my car. That was the one thing I kept. I do love cars. I will be honest. But you keep up with the Joneses, right? And there's a certain appearance that you're trying to keep. But it doesn't matter what the rest of the world thinks, because it's only you that knows how you feel inside. It's only you that knows if you're lost or whether you're found, or whether you get up every morning and you want to get up and go to your job. I'm incredibly privileged to know every single day I get up and I get to go and live my purpose and serve people and help them. And I think that's the transition for me I don't have a job anymore. I get to serve people. And it doesn't matter how successful I am, that will always be my mentality, that I get the opportunity. And if someone can't afford us and I get to spend an hour with them and I help them, I've served them. And in some way, I know they'll pay that forward to somebody else. And that's what counts. And for me, it was slowly, as I started to change my life, these glimmers of hope would happen. And I would see these moments where it would suddenly all make sense. And that's what you've got to look for. You can't get lost in the darkness. You can't get lost in believing that the whole world is against you, because whatever that mindset is, that's what the outcome is going to be. And so you have to believe with all your might. If you don't believe, how's anyone else going to believe in you?
Wow. This is really good. This is really good. And I know the people that are going to watch again now that will catch the replay are really going to be well fed and satisfied with your inspiration. We're going to take a quick break and we shall be right back. And so for those who are watching, again, this is Claire Ansell with Business Powerhouse. You need to connect with her because she is dope. We'll be right back. Acquire, master, and launch your vision today with Vision Writers USA. All right, we are back. So, Claire, tell us this. What has been the worst thing that you've ever had to overcome and bring yourself out of in your life?
Wow, that's a big question. I think anybody's asked me that. I don't have a good relationship with my father. And I think for me, like if I'm totally honest, is overcoming the fact that I felt like I wasn't good enough being his daughter. And for a long time, I went out there, and when I was running my consultancy company, and he was a businessman and a very high profile businessman, was that I thought that I would be good enough by doing that and achieving something in the corporate world by being who I became. And for me, it was overcoming that and overcoming that I was good enough for me and that he didn't get to define who I was. And making the decision that, you know, having a relationship with him was no value to me in my life and didn't do anything for me that was good. And that was hard because as a daughter, you know, I didn't ever want to give up on that. I didn't ever want to give up on him being my father or me being his daughter. But it didn't serve me in any way that was positive. It just created this doubt around me. And so I think that is probably the biggest thing I had overcome. And my relationship with God is so important because of that. And I remember going to church one day and sitting there and realizing that God was my father and that he was the only person that could define who I was. And that made me feel different about my life. And that was a really great relationship for me. And, you know, I work hard with my relationship with God. I took my daughter to Haiti on a mission trip, and we went to an orphanage and saw a lot of children that didn't have families, and just really tried to give back into that society and change, you know, our own mindsets towards how we see the world. And I think that's definitely got to be the tough. I don't think I've ever told anybody that, especially not live on anything, but
no, that's good, because I believe that, you know, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, success is largely in part based on your perception and your perspective. And a lot of our perception and perspective is blinded by the stuff and the experiences that we've been through. And so, you know, I see you as successful, you know, you've managed great companies, but I know there was something you had to overcome. And a lot of times we don't talk about what we have to overcome to let people know I might be here, but I had to break through something. And that really is what qualifies us to help other people when we break through. So just letting the audience hear what you had to deal with, you know, and had to face, you know, that's huge. You know, that just helps people connect. So I applaud you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I think one of the biggest things too, and what I would say to anybody out there, is there's been times in my life where, you know, you push forward, and some days it's you stride forward, and some days, you know, when I got divorced and I moved to South Carolina, I mean, it was by the second that I got through that piece of my life. It was inch by inch that I crawled my way out of it, you know, and that is absolutely the truth. And it was, you know, a tough time in my life in order to overcome everything that I did. And you've got to fight forward. You know, the guilt, the anger that you have, you know, the children are very unhappy with you. Lots of different emotions take place. And you have to be able to focus on something that's really good. And I think that's, for me, why vision is so important, is because there has to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And there's always going to be dark days. When you make a decision to run a business or go out there on your own, and people think that they leave their jobs and that it's going to be easy and that you're going to be your own boss, and it's 1,000 times harder, because you're now responsible for it all. Your every role, your every hat. You know, you have to make every decision, and you're not as prepared for it as you ever think you are. And that's the piece, is there's going to be really dark days, and that vision, that's going to be your light at the end of the tunnel on those days.
Every day, all day. And after that, it's the vision. Wow. That is so amazing. I love your perspective. I love just how you articulate the vision, and just, you know, for your life and how important it is. And, you know, just every day. I even say this, that I used to, even in going through my dark times, I would say that the light is at the end of the tunnel. But then in those dark times, I had to realize that I am the light. Yeah. And that shifted everything. So it wasn't, oh, I got to get to the end of the tunnel, I got to get to that light. It was like, no, you just shine brighter. You just become more of who you are and be more authentic. And you just shining in that midst of that place, the darkness goes away. And that's what that vision does. It gives me something to look at every day, and it excites me. I mean, it's literally sets me on fire as in just like, wow, I see this thing so clear, and I don't chase the vision. I live the vision. Like every day in my own mind, I'm here already. And it's a different perspective and perception. So amazing. So one last question.
Okay.
How important is it to have your family support you in business, to you, or just
everything? Everything. I mean, my children have been through a lot with me, and working with them. I mean, I have a 20-year-old daughter, and she just started her own business, the Sweetest Stories book club. And so, an amazing opportunity for her to like grow this business and to become an entrepreneur, and, to have taken that and do something good, and to go through COVID and, come out the other side with something that's really positive at 20 years old. Those are the moments in my life when I know that we did good. The three of us, we got through life. Now we're a team of 6, and, I have, 2 other children. I have 2 stepchildren, and we've become this family of 6 in this unit. But everything, you can't live for your business. That isn't your life. And everybody that thinks that, and I hear a lot of entrepreneurs, and I try and say to them, you've got to put some boundaries in place. Like, your life is not your business. You can't live it and breathe it. Life has to happen for you, not to you. And so you have to decide, okay, I'm going to decide I'm going to, finish at 7 p.m. every night. I'm going to go home to my family, because your business will be there tomorrow. If you decide you're going to have to put 20 hours in it, you're going to have to put 20 hours in it. And so it's making the decisions about who you want to be as a person before you make the decisions of your business. And don't let that business happen to you and control your life. You have to have a purpose, which is why for me it's these 50 memories. I get to serve these people, and I get to live my purpose. But at the same time, I ultimately do that to fulfill, this vision that I have with my children and with my life, and living the best possible life that I can with them and working towards that.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much, Claire. Appreciate you. So everyone is watching. This is Claire Ansell. Connect with her at www.businesspowerhouse.com. She has a free webinar coming up on December 9th. You definitely need to go to the website, get registered, connect, so that you can just see what it's all about. And if you're watching the replay, please type in replay, like, love, and share, because I know you're going to gain a lot of benefit from what she has shared on tonight. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sisters and brothers, we are done for tonight. This is the episode of the interview. And Claire, please stick around as we step away for a minute so we can do our after actions review. And so long.
Thank you.
Thank you.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.